Riley Herbst is getting promoted to the big leagues of auto racing. For 2025, he will race in the NASCAR Cup Series with 2311 Racing, bringing his Xfinity Series crew chief Davin Restivo with him. Now honestly, I can't help but cringe at the flashy social media post that announced Riley Herbst to 2311. 2311 tries their hardest to make this an epic hype video with a Nirvana remix, but the vibe is just off. The Monster Girls look drier than my throat after consuming a pack of energy drinks. Still, that doesn't compare to the dead look in Denny Hamlin's eyes. You can tell he's dying inside. Yup, I'm really passing on a generational talent in Corey Haim to cash out with Riley Herbst and Terrible's money. Okay, I get it. My trash talk is probably equivalent to Denny Hamlin trash talking drivers that haven't won a championship. Let me give Riley Herbst his flowers for a second. Riley has made some incredible strides as a professional race car driver. After going winless in his first 138 Xfinity starts, Herbst has now won 3 of his last 37. And it's not like he backed into any of these victories. All 3 of his wins were pretty convincing. Riley Herbst either had the dominant car of the afternoon, or he had to display some excellent driving skill to get the job done. Only a few hundred drivers have ever won a NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Riley Herbst finds himself in exclusive category in addition to being one of the only drivers to have a top 10 in his first Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series start. Riley Herbst isn't someone that should be putting the fries in the bag at McDonald's. He clearly has some talent. But the question is, should he really be representing McDonald's in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Oh, hell no!
Riley Herbst is undeserving of his promotion to 2311 Racing. So the question is, why is he even going in the first place if he doesn't deserve it? It's common knowledge at this point that Riley Herbst was the kid that wiped his with money when he was growing up. Let's give credit where credit's due. The Herbst family has experienced their slice of the American dream. For decades, they have run a successful convenience store called Terrible's. Jerry Herbst, the grandfather of Riley, has a reported net worth of $146 million. Now I'm sure you guys are wondering, what is Terrible's? They're never on any of Riley Herbst's cars. Well, the reason for this is that this is a business-to-business transaction that has risen since NASCAR's decline in popularity. Terrible's provides a service to Monster Energy in exchange for them to be the full-time primary sponsor on Riley Herbst's race cars. This is why Terrible's has never been a primary sponsor of Riley Herbst, except when you zoom in on the C-pillar. There you go, there's a Terrible's logo. Well, yes, in modern NASCAR, it is fair to say that most drivers come from money. Only a select few like Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, and Austin Hill are truly self-made men. I agree that this shouldn't be held against Riley Herbst as a person. He just so happened to win the lottery of life being born into a wealthy family. However, the thing about Riley's situation is that the money typically overrides the B-tier talent at best behind the wheel. Riley Herbst began his career in the TRD pipeline looking to follow in the footsteps of champions like Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, and Christopher Bell. He began his career at Joe Gibbs Racing driving ARCA cars. In his tenure, Riley Herbst won just 1 race in 2 years. Despite the subpar results, Riley Herbst got promoted. This time, he would race Xfinity cars for Joe Gibbs Racing. While he did have some runs like Auto Club in 2020 that made me think maybe this guy isn't as bad of a driver as we think. Unfortunately, the rest of the season was remembered for crashes and underachievement in cars that were capable of winning races. Making things worse, the next season, Daniel Hemrick, taking over the number 18 from Riley Herbst, would become series champion. Riley Herbst was searching for a new job, but he wouldn't have to overgo the same frustration that ordinary people have to go through when finding a new job. One of the newly vacated seats was the number 98 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford Mustang that, in 2020, won 9 races and led 1,000 laps with Chase Briscoe. In 2021, Riley Herbst would take over that ride, bringing his terrible sponsorship to basically keep SHR's Xfinity program in business. And the thing about this move was that this was not a total retool of the 98 team. Richard Boswell stayed put in Xfinity. It was basically Chase out, Riley in. Over the next few years, Stewart-Haas Racing remained of championship pedigree, at least in the Xfinity series. Cole Custer got demoted, and in the Xfinity series won both the series title in 2023 as well as the regular season championship in 2024. What did Riley do with Chase Briscoe's old team? He would get 0 wins and barely squeak into the Xfinity Series playoffs in 2021. Dan Restivo took over and the 98 had a slight improvement. Still, Riley Herbst playoff runs are as follows: eliminated in the round of 12, eliminated in the round of 12, failed to make the playoffs entirely, and eliminated in the round of 12. As a driver, yes, he had dominant statement victories at Las Vegas, Indianapolis, and Phoenix, but he's also made some of the dumbest moves that make you think he's as bad as Sidney Thomas. How is a driver that makes these type of moves on the racetracks worthy of being teammates to a generational talent in Tyler Reddick? All the zeros at the end of Riley Herbst's paychecks to the team justifies him getting a top-tier ride. Even if racecraft-wise, Riley Herbst is a B-tier driver. Due to his money, Riley Herbst has been gift-wrapped an opportunity that 99.9999999% of people will never have. There are only 36 seats at the NASCAR Cup Series table. When you think about it, there are many remarkable drivers that never got their big opportunity in Cup. Brett Moffitt has proven that he can win races and championships at the Truck Series level. Yet his talents and racing achievements have been unrequited by the NASCAR garage. In fact, Moffitt got fired after he won the 2018 Truck Championship because he didn't have any sponsors. Justin Allgaier had Brandt funding to race in Cup, but was relegated to a perennial mid-pack team in H. Scott Motorsports. The thing is, those drivers are just the tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds upon thousands of local drivers that just don't have the money or connections to even get a single ARCA start. Especially since the American economy right now is in shambles for the younger generation. Now, social mobility is still possible in modern America, but it's a lot harder. Because of that, Riley Herbst, as a 25-year-old, has had various opportunities and has had a longer leash than other 25-year-olds that don't have the capital that his parents have. This is going to be one of the biggest problems going forward in modern NASCAR because pay drivers have already infected the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Who knows how long it'll take before a majority of the slots at 2311, Joe Gibbs, RFK, and various other top-tier rides are taken by pay drivers. Heck, it might even be the case now considering all of the potential B2B deals behind closed doors. So in 2025, things are expensive, but you want to know what doesn't have a bunch of zeros at the end? A subscription to the Digital Gas House Patreon. Whether you want to give me an Abe Lincoln or a Thomas Jefferson every single month, the Digital Gas House Patreon is affordable and there are plenty of benefits to becoming a member of the Gas House Gang. I would be honored to see you guys support my work by becoming a Digital Gas House Patreon member today. Link in the description below. Like I said, this is nothing against Riley Herbst as a person. He is simply the beneficiary of all of this. However, Riley Herbst's promotion to the Cup Series is the antithesis of traditional NASCAR. Historically in NASCAR, we've seen drivers sometimes come from being dirt poor to becoming superstars because they had the work ethic and they had to be really competitive right out of the gate. The problem with Riley Herbst's promotion isn't necessarily that he has money, but it's the fact that the money has allowed him to have a long leash and to struggle for so many years, but he pops off in 3 races and now he's going to the Cup Series in a top tier ride. That is the problem with Riley Herbst's promotion. It's hard to really get excited for Riley Herbst, not just because of all that, but then as a person himself, distinguishing away from the things out of his control. In his control, he does have a little bit of an ego for a guy that's only won 3 races in his career. Riley, you need to realize that in the NASCAR Cup Series, you are going to be criticized, even if you're a 3-time champion in Joey Logano. Well, all we can hope is that maybe he does have some good takes on Thanksgiving to make him somewhat relatable. Let Riley cook! Let's just say he burnt down the kitchen with this take. If you enjoyed, there's going to be more full tank NASCAR content on both NRF Productions and Fuel Cell Full. I encourage you guys to support both of these channels going forward. Other than that, this is Nathan for Digital Gas House. Life's a beach, and then you drive.